Hey guys. Welcome to my channel. Today I will recap a movie called Antichrist, which was released in 2009. So let's get into it without further delay. Sit back and enjoy this amazing psychological thriller. The movie opens with a nameless couple having intercourse in their apartment. While they are busy with their activities, their toddler son wakes up in the middle of the night and starts crawling inside the house. After playing for a while with his toys, the boy starts crawling again, climbs up the bedroom window, and falls down to his death. At the young boy's funeral, his mother passes out due to the shock and is admitted to a hospital. In the hospital, her husband visits her and asks her how is she feeling. The woman replies that he just asked her this yesterday, but the man tells her that it was 2 days ago and she is admitted to the hospital for over a month now. She then tells him, her husband, that Dr. Wayne told her that her grief pattern is typical. Her husband, who is also a psychiatrist, is not happy with Wayne and says that he will talk to the man because he thinks she is given too much medicine. After learning her husband's indication, she tries to stop him from talking to the doctor, but he says that he knows more about medicine and there is nothing typical with her grief. The woman is not happy about it and says that it is her fault that their child died like that because she knew he started waking up at night and he can crawl out of his bed. She starts crying again after remembering her child and passes out. Later, when she is awake, her husband visits her again and says that this place is leading her nowhere because her grief is not a disease but a natural reaction. Listening to this, the woman says that Wayne knows that he is a therapist and said that he can't treat his family. The man replies that he may not treat her in the principle, but he loves her and knows everything about her, which makes him best to treat her. After agreeing that he will now continue the treatment of his wife, they come back home where she empties out her medicine bottle from the hospital. In the house, she gets random attacks of anxiety which leads her to start crying. She believes that nothing will change by this, but her husband assures her that everything will get better. Later at night, they are lying in bed when she says to her husband that he was always distant from her and their son Nick. The man asks her to explain and she says that he missed Nick last summer and she never interested him until now as she is his patient. She says that he is indifferent to his child's death and maybe he has some clever therapist explanation for this. The man replies that he was distant from them because he wanted to give her space so she can write the thesis in peace as per wish, and he thought she wanted to go to Eden alone with Nick. She tells him that she didn't finish her thesis because when she was in Eden the Hope Project seems less important. He is surprised that she didn't finish her thesis and she complains again that he doesn't keep track of anything. Later that night she wakes up from a nightmare and starts hyperventilating. Her husband helps her in calming down and then says that she passed her first phase of mourning and is now in the second phase, which is anxiety. He tells her that it is not dangerous but it has a more physical impact as she will feel dizzy or nauseous while she is in this phase. As he is talking, she suddenly kisses him, wanting to be intimate with him as she is using this to distract herself. Her husband then tells her that exposure is the only thing that works in reality and she needs the courage to stay in the situation that frightens her because it will help her find that fear is not dangerous. He suggests that they will make a list of her fears and put the situation she fears the most on top. He asks her to think carefully about what frightened her more, but she couldn't name anything. She has an anxiety attack later that night, and after she calms down, her husband asks her to think about the places that she is afraid of. He gives her some suggestions saying if she is afraid of a park or store, but she interrupts him and says that she is most afraid of woods. He then asks her what scares her most about the woods, to which she replies that everything there scares her. He asks if there are any particular woods that scare her, and she replies that Eden's woods scare her the most. He asks if he should write this at the top of the pyramid, but she says that it is not what she fears the most. After learning about her fear, the man suggests that they should visit Eden and they start traveling toward the woods. While they are on the train, he asks his wife to imagine that she is in the woods and guides her to go near the grass and other things she is most afraid of. In her imagination, she successfully overcomes her fear as she lies down on the grass without having much difficulty. Back on the train, he tells her that no matter what happens, let her fear come to her if it likes. After traveling for a while, they reach their destination and start hiking toward their cottage in Eden. While hiking, the woman complains that the ground is burning and shows him her feet that are red from walking. She then says that she wants to lie down for a minute. He asks her to take a rest while he looks around the woods. While exploring the place, he sees a deer that is giving birth, but after seeing him, it runs away. He is sitting there silently when the woman approaches him after a while and says that they should start moving. They continue their journey and pass the bridge she saw and her imagination as water is running under it. As they near the cottage, the woman starts to get scared, but she helps her in calming down. They move forward and are near the grass she fears the most, but instead of facing it, she starts running and goes inside the cottage, and her husband also follows her there. They are sleeping at night when sudden noise wakes them up. The woman tells her husband that these are just acorns. He goes back to sleep, but when he wakes up the next day his hand is covered with swollen ticks, which scares him a little, so he quickly removes them and closes the window. Later, when his wife wakes up, he tells her that he created a game for her and says that he put 2 stones in the grass and she has to walk from one to another to overcome her fear. He takes her to the stones and encourages her to walk on the grass. She is very scared and starts panicking, but successfully completes her task, making her husband happy. When they are back inside, she tells him that she was afraid of her before and that is why she stopped writing. He asks her what happened when she came here last time, and she tells him that last time when she was here she heard a child crying and at first thought it is Nick, but she found him playing happily in the woodshed. After listening to her story, he says that she experienced something she couldn't explain and that is why she put Eden high on her list of fears. He says that if the danger were real the fear would trigger her fight or flight mode and save her life, but she is experiencing in panic and nothing more. Later they are lying in bed talking when she tells him about the old oak trees and says that nature is Satan's church. Due to her mentioning Satan, he thinks that is what she fears the most and puts it on the top of the list, but then cuts it himself. In the next few days, the woman starts to get better suddenly and feels happy as she roams around excitedly. The man is confused by her sudden happiness and his lack of reaction angers her, so she walks away leaving him alone in the woods. While he is outside alone, he hears the rustling of some bushes, and when he goes there he finds an injured fox. To his shock the fox says the words, "Koos reigns" to him and goes away. He is still standing there, but it starts to rain and he goes back inside the cottage. Inside the house, his wife is asleep, so he brings a ladder inside and climbs up to the attic. There he finds the portraits of people getting tortured and a notepad in which the writings are very frantic and illegible. Later when she wakes up, he says to her that he wants them to roleplay and says that he will be the nature that causes people to do evil things while her role is to think rationally. While they are role-playing, she tells him that while writing she discovered that women do not control their bodies but nature does, and she came to believe that all women are of evil nature. He is not happy with her opinion and reprimands her about it. Instead of answering him, she suddenly kisses him, wanting to be intimate with him, and asks him to inflict pain on her. When he refuses, she walks out and lies down under a big dead tree. He soon joins her and follows her wishes, which leads to them having violent intercourse under that tree. While they are busy with each other, several bodies appear intertwined with the roots of the tree. Later he reviews Nick's autopsy and photos taken during his stay in Eden. The man realized that he had systematically put Nick's shoes on the wrong foot, causing a deformity in his foot. When he asked her about it, she says that it may be one-time mistake, but he finds that his son is wearing the wrong shoes in every picture. He leaves her inside and goes to the woodshed to be alone for some time. She follows him there, attacks him, and accuses him of wanting to leave her. She then has forced intercourse with him and then hits him in the groin with a large block of wood, knocking him out. She then masturbates him and ejaculates blood. She drilled a hole in his leg, ran a heavy whetstone through the wound, and throws the wrench she was using under the cabin. The man wakes up alone and is unable to unbolt himself. He drags his body into a deep foxhole at the base of a dead tree to hide. After the crowing of a crow that found him buried alive in the pit, the woman finds him, attacks him, and partially buries him. Dawn breaks and the woman is now guilty and unburies the man, but can't remember where the wrench is. She helps him back to the cottage, where she tells him that he can only die when the 3 beggars arrive. The woman tells him that she saw Nick climb the window the night he died but took no action, demonstrating an awareness of inherent evil. At the cottage, she cuts off her clitoris. The two are then visited by a raven symbolizing despair, a deer, symbolizing grief, and a fox, symbolizing pain, called the 3 beggars. A hailstorm begins. It was previously revealed that a woman accused of witchcraft was known to have the power to summon hailstorms. When he finds the wrench under the cabin's floorboards, she attacks him from behind, but he managed to remove the whetstone. Finally freed, he strangles her and then burns her body in cremation. The man hobbles out of the booth eating wild berries, now watched by his 3 beggars who are translucent and bright. Reaching the top of a hill under a blinding light, he watches in awe as hundreds of women in antiquated dresses come toward him with their faces blurred. Thanks for watching the recap. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss any content from us. Stay tuned for more thrilling and amazing movies. See you soon. Bye.